was it DVD plus R, DVD minus R, and CDs versus CDRWs? You know, all the DMCA stuff, Macrovision, all the different versions of Windows and how to control networking, and Novell and OS2, Windows NT, all that stuff you don't have to learn. We did. And that information doesn't really benefit us at all, other than the logical processes used in learning and how computers think. That's still the same, but how you activate it and how you manipulate it has changed. The interface is different now, but the logic is still there. And so you sort of have an advantage when you don't have all that baggage that Doug and I and others, like, you know, Scott Merrill and others that have been in this business for decades. You don't need to know Banyan Vines or Lotus Notes. That's the good thing. And over years and years and years of things like, you know, oh, now there's USB, and now there's Wi-Fi, and a different version of Wi-Fi, and another version of Wi-Fi, and these are the conditions, and these are the caveats, and then this is Bluetooth, and these are the conditions, and these are the caveats, and man, it never gets dull. Although this year, it's gotten a little dull. For the first time in forever, things have just really come to a crawl. They're still progressing, but not at the pace they used to. Same could be said for me. But part of that's age, but part of that's also the industry. Like, I can't jump ahead of where the technology is because I don't know where it's going. And at the same time, I'm getting older, and I'm glad I don't have to keep up as hard as I used to. I don't know that I could. Sean Gallagher said he got home and his monitor was off and his power cord went bad. I'm shocked because I've never seen a power cord go out. That's pretty weird. A lot of times if a power cable is bad, it's just not fully plugged in. Or it's too loose. Like if you've got one of these like connectors where it's got slots or holes, they've widened out, and you can get some pliers when it's unplugged and squeeze them back closed. You don't want to close them entirely, then it'll be too tight. But you can sort of squeeze those connections, because after being plugged in and unplugged, even wall outlets will do that. And I'm sure we've all experienced this, when you go to plug like a hair dryer in and the plug just falls out. The outlet has loosened up, and it's faster and cheaper to replace the outlet than to open it. You know, it's high voltage. So if you don't know what you're doing, you certainly don't want to go in there with metal tools and electrocute yourself. You just buy an outlet for 75 cents and replace it, and you're good for another 20 years. That usually is what happens with cables. It's not that the cable itself goes out, unless it got burned or chewed. You have a pet that maybe chew on cables, or if there was a big power spike and it melted the inside of the cable. Usually that's not the case. Usually it's just the connectors got loose and you have to tighten them back up. But for as cheap as power cables are, I mean, why not just replace it? Mark Leibowitz started his career in 1987, so he's been doing this 4 years longer than me, because I started as a hobbyist in the 80s, but I didn't become a professional until 1991. So Mark's got me by a few years. He said I had to do much of it with veritable stone knives and bear skins when I could learn on CompuServe, good old CompuServe. And when it came to the tech, the buck stopped with me. Yeah, regardless, right? You're going to find an answer for your customers. Okay, I think this install is finally downloaded and installed, or update rather. So let's go ahead and hit restart. That was a long install. And if this install does what Microsoft says it will, then it'll fix those from happening again. The irony is rich, isn't it? Time will tell. When this reboots, we're going to check the device manager. Remember, we're just primarily just checking to see what drivers we were going to get. I will download AMD Adrenalin regardless. That's irrelevant to whatever we get from Windows. I will always download the latest AMD Adrenalin on any AMD system that's on my bench. If a customer says, hey, I need my computer worked on and it's an AMD computer, I am downloading the AMD Adrenalin Zone. What if it's already got it? Well, then it won't hurt anything. Because in most cases, 98% of the time, the customer has a very old version of AMD Adrenalin that works. It just doesn't work as well as a new version. It's free, so why would you not do it? It doesn't make any sense. David Graham said a customer called me, said his computer won't turn on. I ran over and it was the power strip. The cat turned it off. Sure. I've seen bad power strips causing problems, bad UPSs causing problems, bad power cables, and bad users causing problems. All of those are easy to replace except the user. But I get paid the same. Let me make my window a little bit smaller here. So when we come back up, we're going to check the device manager. We're going to download the AMD Adrenalin software. We'll look for if there's any other missing drivers. And then we can run Crystal Dismark on it. And I think that'll wrap it up. So maybe another half an hour to the show. So if you're just joining us or you've been procrastinating asking a question, you still have time. There's Mitch Morrison joining us in the chat room with a dad joke of why the dandelion quit dating, because it kept getting blown off. There you go. But I'm bummed. Good to see you, Mitch. Happy Friday. GewoonPieter says hello, joins us in the live chat. Welcome in. We are broadcasting worldwide around the planet in 4K. This is not a television show. You are our live audience. You ever seen, what was it, some TV show recorded live and recorded in front of a live audience? We're recorded in front of a live audience. That's you watching right now. Assuming you're watching Friday, the 31st of July, 2026. We'd love to see you in the chat room. Say hello. If you're interested, if you look for like help desk information on LinkedIn, you'll find some great stories of some technical challenges people have with people. And that one of the lessons that people will give on LinkedIn is that knowing the tech is only half the job. Knowing how to communicate with people is the other half of the job. It's not enough that you fix the problem. You've got to handle the customer properly. And there's just a certain way to do it, or even if you do the technical side correctly, you still may have a pissed off customer who's not happy with you because they don't like the way you talk to them, or the overall demeanor you had. And that's very true. Somebody said, look, closing your laptop lid is not restarting your computer. People don't know. You don't have to make fun of them or talk to them like they're children. Like I said, we're all born knowing nothing. Some of us just don't care, right, about computers. It's a necessary evil. I need this to do my job. I wouldn't have one otherwise, is what some people will tell you. So just fix it. I don't care. Or they genuinely would like more information, but sometimes they're asking more than they realize, and you have to find a way to tell them without insulting them that it's a very difficult question to answer without certain experience. And that can be a tightrope sometimes, but there's some great tech support stories on LinkedIn from people working in the industry about misunderstandings with customers. And it can cost you a job. You have a misunderstanding with the CEO of the company, you probably aren't going to be working at that company much longer. When I worked at Intel, the CEO was Andy Grove, one of the original founders. And if Andy Grove was visiting the campus, you were on your best behavior and try to stay out of his way. Not because he was a nasty person. He was the nicest guy. One of my coworkers came over to my laboratory where I was working in Intel, and he goes, "You won't believe what just happened." I go, "What?" He goes, "I turned the corner and I walked right into Andy Grove." It's like, ooh. Just wasn't expecting anybody around the corner. Just another day, walking, do, and then boom, right into the CEO of the company. And I go, well, what'd he do? And he said, oh, he asked if I was okay, and I apologized. He goes, but when I was walking away, I imagine he looked over at with security and went. Let's go to the device manager. Where are we at? After Windows updates, do we still need some drivers? We do. There's 3 drivers missing. Now remember, we went to Camrui's website and we downloaded that zip file. If I want to just hit this install bat right here, install drivers.bat, double click it. I'm going to get some drivers I may not necessarily need, but they shouldn't hurt anything. All right, that's probably what most people would do. May not be what I would do, but for the sake of getting through this, since we're running a little late, I don't want to hunt down what those 3 drivers are. As far as I know, if I just put the AMD Adrenalin driver on, which I'm going to do anyway, it might have already resolved those 3 issues. And now that I've said it out loud, I probably should have changed the order, but this doesn't hurt anything either way. We're fine. With those drivers installed, I don't know if a restart is necessary. Let's see. So these 3 things may still be related to the AMD Adrenalin driver. That's a little bit worrisome. So what's worrisome is that those drivers didn't require a restart and they didn't seem to do anything. But maybe because we have to restart. But I'm not going to wait. Let's just go AMD Adrenalin and let's download it, because like I said, for the 4th or 5th time, I'm doing that anyway. Regardless of the device manager, I want the latest. This is a pretty small download. It doesn't take very long. I'll hit open. And yes, we can close that out just to get rid of the noise, visual noise. And then we get rid of camera 1 so you can see the whole, visualize this whole screen here. It unpacks the installer and gets ready to install, and you'll see it's going to put our chipset driver in and our graphics driver in. Whether or not you want to help AMD by giving anonymous data feedback to them when things crash is up to you. It's all anonymized and nobody cares, but they appreciate it if the computer crashes, that you don't have to tell them and open a support ticket. They already know. If it's happening to a bunch of people and they get flooded with these automated and anonymous crash reports, then they can identify what's causing it and fix it before you maybe even installed it yourself. It's already fixed. So that's the benefit of choosing to participate. Hopefully enough other people are participating, you still get the benefit regardless. Mark Leibowitz was asking Mitch Morrison, if I send a letter to a guy who collects old monitors, have I just written a screensaver? Good old geek jokes. This whole Windows system backup, just as a reminder, if that's really annoying you, just click those 3 dots there on the top right corner and say, turn these notifications off. Turn off. Oh, this is for OneDrive, not for backup. Same thing. Whenever these notifications pop up, you can individually say, never show me that subject matter again. You can also go into notification settings and just disable all notifications in the future if you choose to. Of course, that might disable notifications you want. I can't read your mind. I don't know what you want. Unless you tell me. Okay, let's see. Nothing else in the chat room. Very good. I'm hopeful that after downloading this, we reboot, and I'm hoping the device manager will be happy. And that time remaining is wrong. It won't take 7 minutes. It'll probably be done in about 2 minutes. We'll see. The benefit of doing this live is being able to demonstrate in real life how long things actually take, so that you know how much time to expect it to take if you decide to do the same thing I'm doing. Obviously, your internet speed, the speed of your computer, and if you're running any other multitasking events at the same time will impact that, but you would know that already, right? So if you have any other questions or concerns for me regarding C or other technical related content, I invite you and encourage you to ask now, because we're just about done with today's broadcast. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today, hanging out with us. There goes our video driver again. When you see the screen blank out and you see the resolution just got increased to 4K mode there, everything got smaller. That's why that happened. It's probably going to put it back right now. Let's see. I'm not touching anything. I'm just watching, just like you are. Yep, it put it back. Very good. But it did put the driver back. It put the resolution back. It updated the driver. So clearly we had an old driver, or that likely would not have happened. And clearly it didn't take 7 minutes. So here we go. Launch, keep AMD software up to date, and close. Oh, and that doesn't want to reboot either. Now in just a moment, we should see the AMD screen for the Adrenaline software appear here in just a moment as it initializes and executes. You can still do other things. You don't have to wait for it, but I'm going to wait for it. John Lewis says, thanks to everyone for your contributions today. Thank you, John. I'm going to skip this for right now. And you can see we're all current, up to date. Everything's good. Close that out. And I want to look in the device manager just to see if anything has changed. Look at that. So I don't think we needed anything from Camrui. If I had to do this all over again, I wouldn't even have downloaded those drivers. And there's no reason for Lugrinia to be afraid of it. It's really simple. And if it wasn't simple, or you're confused about something, just reach out and ask. We're always happy to point you in the right direction if we know the answer. Let me restart just to make sure everything takes effect. We'll run Crystal Disk Info. We'll get some readings on this internal storage drive. And we'll wrap it up. And I'm going to unplug my USB drive. I believe I'm done with that now. I've got all the utilities I need copied off. GewoonPieter with a €1 super chat. Thank you, Peter. We don't have a sponsor like most other channels. I'd say the closest thing I have to a sponsor would be the VIP URCD keys, but I use them anyway, and I'm going to recommend them anyway. So we're not doing anything any differently other than the number of reminders. And given how frequently we get new viewers and how frequently viewers come back after a long hiatus, it's important to remind people that maybe forgot or haven't been updated for a long time or are new here. So I think that works out best for everybody. Let me run my optimizer. We sell this. This generates revenue for the channel. You buy it once, you can run it on as many computers as you want. There's no activation or product key required. We simply we rely on the honor system that you're not going to screw us over. And we'll know, because if we don't make any money at it, we simply won't keep offering it. We'll just keep it private. This is a tool I designed for myself. And this doesn't do anything to your computer that you can't do yourself. And everything is authorized by Microsoft. So there's no jeopardy to future consequences as a result of any of these changes we're making. It will not affect Windows updates in the future the way other enthusiasts will offer utilities that could and likely do cause negative consequences in the future. As a professional technician, it would be profoundly irresponsible and against any company policy if you work in an IT department to run any of that. It would be highly unusual for a company to authorize you in the IT department to use a third-party utility software. I'm not saying they're not allowed to, but in my experience, it's almost universal that any major company, government entity, a hospital, even a lawyer's office, a doctor's office, if they're trusting you to do the work, then they don't know better if you're using free software utilities because they trust you. And if you're doing that to your customers, I would say you're an untrustworthy and unprofessional, in my opinion. If you're getting paid to run free utilities, you're also violating the license terms because free is often for personal use only. There was a lawsuit against Geek Squad because they were doing just that. They were profiting off of using free software, and the free software was not intended for anybody to profit from unless you bought a license. That's not fair. I spent all the time and effort to write the program and give it away, and now you're using it to charge people, and you're not sharing the profit with me? You better believe there's going to be a lawsuit. Also, a lot of the free utilities cause problems. Not necessarily immediately, but over time. And as a result, you're going to have to fix all those issues, and that's going to cost somebody some money. What you do at home is your business. But I wouldn't do something at home that I wouldn't do at a customer's. I wouldn't do anything to my own equipment unless under certain circumstances, say I had a computer whose sole purpose was for me to play with, that I didn't count on it. I wouldn't use my main mission critical machine to be running experiments on and see what happens. You might. I won't ever do that. I might grab a spare computer, make a backup of it, and then do whatever the hell I want to it. Or I have an old computer and I want to try and desolder a BIOS chip on it, knowing there's a good chance I don't know what I'm doing and I'll break it. But that's how I learn. But I'm not going to learn on a mission critical piece of equipment because that's just foolish. And it's not professional. If you're a home user, you don't have to be professional. Okay, let's close this out. We're good here. Looks like Secure Boot is off. I'm fine with Secure Boot being off. I'm not worried about it. You can turn it on in the BIOS. It's no big deal. Let's see. Crystal Disk Mark is what I want. So let's go over to the Crystal Disk Mark software. Whoops. There it is. And let's see what sort of numbers we get out of this. I'm going to guess somewhere around 3,400 on the reads and writes, but let's see. Andy says, thank you, Carrie and Mara. Thanks. It's a nice to have a special mini palooza. Well, we're glad to have you here, Andy. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, our Gen 3 drive is running at Gen 3 speeds. What a shocker. Mark Liebowitz said, as a fellow pro, I highly recommend Uncle Carrie's Windows 11 Optimizer. I use it in my business as well, and it has improved the consistency of my setups considerably. Well, that's why I made it, right? You and I are kind of in the same boat. He gets it. Thank you for the endorsement. I appreciate that. Free testimonials. I really built it for me. The Windows 10 Optimizer was something I needed, and when I showed it to everybody, they said, oh, can we get that? I never intended to make it merch. But I'm glad I did because it's another source of revenue for us to keep us afloat. And we don't care how many machines you use it on. We don't care if you charge customers to use it. As long as you buy it, we're fine with it. And as long as you don't give it away. Like, you see that I've run it on this computer, right? You saw me just run the optimizing tool. It's done. I just delete it. I never need it again unless Windows Update changes things. It's not a program you install. It's just making some configuration changes that Microsoft permits. But instead of going into 15 different windows and finding all the different menu options, It just does it with the click of a button. It's way faster and way more consistent, and I don't have to think, did I already do that? Gotta have a checklist and start checking things off. What a pain in the butt. Just let the software do it. Any repetitive task should be automated. Ooh, look at those write speeds. That's terrible. When you see write speeds that are that low, that's indicative of a heat-related problem, and I'll show you. Check this out. I don't want to continue the test because this drive is clearly running hot. And if it's running hot, it may be that heat, the thermal pad that's on there, maybe I didn't line it up right. It'd be worth opening it up and looking again. But the reason I know this is I've seen this before. It's one thing for the write speed to be slower than the read speed. That's normal, but not that much slower. That's like 70% slower. So if we give this a minute to cool off and we tell Crystal Dismark only do the write test, you can go up here to your settings. Let's see. No, that's not what I want. Where's it at? Just do the write test. Okay, you see how I did that? Under Profile, I selected Write. And let's just do the write test now that it's had a few minutes. While I've been doing that, let's see if this number is closer to the thousands than the hundreds now. If this number is significantly bigger, it's because the drive cooled off. And the drive is still slow. So the next question is the drive still hot? Or is that the way the drive was designed to run? So one of the things we can do if we pull up Crystal Disk Info is just look at the manufacturer's specifications, assuming we can find them. I think that's a heat issue, but it's quite possible these no-name brand drives are just really bad performers. I wouldn't think so, but it's possible. What's interesting is this drive says it supports Gen 4. I'm sorry, I take that back. It's Gen 3, my bad. Gen 3 by 4 is what it supports, and Gen 3 by 4 is what it's working at. I misread it. Temperature is good on it. So I don't know who makes this. It's got a serial number. I'd have to go back in the video and pull the manufacturer name. It's kind of not a good sign when they don't embed the name in the drive. That's not a sign of a company that cares about their brand. You can see it's a brand new drive. You know, it's only had the equivalent of 117 hours on it, which is more than I put on it, but the factory had to have some time on it, right? Maybe a little bit high, but still. It's only been powered on 15 times. So I'm going to do this one more time. Let's see if we just do the write test. See if it's still slow. It's still slow. Okay, so this is going to require a little bit of research. So what I would do, the first thing I'm going to do is rewind this video and take a look at who the manufacturer of this drive is. Thankfully, I've got it on film or, digital. Let me fast forward here through today's video. Let's get that machine open and where I walk up to the camera. Here it is. And the name of the drive is what? I'm waiting until I'm holding it in front of the camera. I'm walked up to the camera. And at some point, I rotate. Let's be further back. There we go. Whoops. Went too far back. Derlar. It looks like D-E-R-L-E-R. Okay, I'm going to use the Windows snipping tool. I'm going to grab a screenshot of this drive. Do that again. I don't like that screenshot. Go to the snipping tool. Then I'm going to grab image of this image. Okay, and that copies it into the buffer. Then I'm going to go to Gemini. Oops, I didn't spell it right. Gemini.google.com. And I'm going to hit the plus button and click I want to upload files. And go to the pictures and the subfolder of screenshots. That's the default where Windows places them. And select the image, the screenshot I just took without any text. I'm just going to put that right into Gemini and see what it tells me. And let's see if I can share the screen with you here, if it's going to let me. Window capture. Here we are. Good. Brand, Durlar, model, FP3, capacity, serial number. See, it's reading the image for me, so I don't have to worry about getting a magnifying glass out. And we can ask it, what are the reported read and write speeds? And it can search the internet and do the research for me. Okay, so the sequential read speed, we're actually getting significantly faster than this. Actual world benchmarks typically measure around 2300. We're doing much better, but we're only getting half of this. That's a little concerning. Using AI, when you use it right, it's like any other tool. The tool doesn't do the work for you. It's assisting you with making the work easier. You can pound a nail in to a piece of lumber with a rock or a shoe. You could use the end of a screwdriver. You could use your imagination. Nothing works better than a hammer for that task. So why is our number so low? Why are we at 852 if it's not a heat issue? Well, I guess I know what I'll be doing after the show. This evening I'll try some experiments out. And I guess we'll follow this up with a part 2 and let you know what I find, if we need to reach out to Cam Rui and find out, is this normal or is there something wrong? Because at this point, it's definitely not a heat issue. The heat would occur after, like we did that series of reads, and then we go do the series of writes. That's the default way that Crystal Disk Mark works. Causes the drive to heat up. But that's half speed. We should be getting twice 840 on the writes. That may mean that the slot it's in is not working correctly. More than likely, the controller on the drive isn't up to snuff. We've had instances with Kingston drives where there was a bad batch of them and they weren't replaced unless you complained. Is this the same deal? If I took that drive out and put it into a different system, will it still perform the same? That's how I can define if it's the system or if it's the drive. So that's why I've got some work ahead of me. It's not really a problem for me. I don't think any end user would notice. But I wouldn't feel comfortable advertising it the way the manufacturer advertises it. And then when I verify it, because I don't have any faith, I verify it. And the verification shows a problem. Is it driver related? I mean, we just put the latest chipset driver on there. But again, by taking this out and moving it into, the other slot or an entirely different computer, if it stays consistently slow, we know it's the drive. If it goes faster, we know it's the system. And that would be Basic Diagnostic 101. And I think, it saved the best for last, right? That was kind of a surprise. I didn't see that coming. And that's why you always verify. Validate, verify, validate, verify. At least if you want to be held accountable for it. That's what I would do. Craig Casabona has renewed his membership. Now a member for 35 months. Thank you, Craig. Carrie says, how's Mitch doing? I haven't seen him in a while. He's right in there. Say hello to Mitch. He's doing well. We talk regularly and keeping himself busy, working on his acting and all the other things that Mitch does. Andy mentions a lot of times NVMe drives don't report their temps accurately, but clearly something's wrong, right? Like this isn't a heat-related problem because once it gets hot, it will slow down the reads and the writes. Also, they don't take long to cool down. Just maybe 30 seconds is cool enough. But like if we do the write test again, if we go back over to the test here, and we change the profile back to the, let's just do a read. In theory, if this was a heat-related problem, we'd see similar numbers on this side. But the fact that this number will be in the 3000s and this number is in the hundreds, there's something wrong. It's often, the first place I look is heat. But you see, we're still running about the same speed. We would not be running the same speed on the left and only have the heat affect us on the right. It would affect both sides equally. So once again, if we change the profile back to write only, we'll be back to 800 again every time. I'm very confident that that's not heat related. That's either a driver, a bad controller, a bad slot, and more than likely a bad drive. Something on the drive isn't working right. But I'd have to move it into another system to verify it. I could go faster than that through a USB adapter. So just so you know, it is not matching what it's supposed to be doing. If I don't figure it out, or if I do figure it out, I'll let Cam Rui know and see what advice they have for us, and we'll pass on their response to you. So we'll follow this up in a part 2. Not the biggest issue, but not acceptable. Now you could say maybe you should have tested that before you wiped and reinstalled Windows so I would know if I caused it. Fair point. Absolutely. But I can also tell you that I've done this countless times on different models and makes and manufacturers of computers, laptops, mini PCs, and different makes and models and manufacturers of solid state drives. It's not like I don't know what I'm doing. Not my first rodeo. That doesn't mean I'm impervious to making mistakes, but I didn't do anything any differently. But the results are different. And that puts us right at 4 o'clock. That puts us right at the 3-hour mark, which is just a great stopping point because we went an hour over because of how long that particular update took. But you got to see a real live unboxing, exactly what's in the box, what you should expect it to look like, an understanding of the value of what's being offered here for your own confirmation. You don't have to take my word for anything, nor should you ever take anyone's word for anything. I verified it live and in warts and all, right? And in this case, I don't know the answer to the problem yet, but I will get there, and we'll just have to follow it up on a part 2. In the meantime, you know, without a second unit, I just don't know if that's normal. And until I hear back from Cam Rui and just verify my work that I put the drive back correctly, try it in the other slot, try it in another computer, verify if it is the drive, if Cam Rui's going to replace it or what Cam Rui's going to say about that. That's going to take some time. We couldn't do that today if we wanted to. We can start the process today. Given it's a weekend, we probably won't hear anything until next week. But I'd like, before I write the email to them, I want to verify my own work because that's faster. And Westside Lord pops in and says hello just as we're saying goodbye. So thank you for stopping in. You can always rewind this video back to the beginning and rewatch what you've missed. And I hope you found it educational and hopefully entertaining. On Sunday, we have a brand new computer from our friends over at Minis Forum. And I'll show it to you here just on the website while I've got this screen up. Might as well. Whoops, I didn't mean to bring up the Microsoft Store. Just go over here. I'll type in minis forum. This one we purchased from Amazon, and it's the NAB 9S, which is not here. I thought it would be right on the home page. It's a brand new release. Product. What's it going to be listed under? Is it an Elite? Let's see. I'm not sure what this really throws me. We're into the views. It says it's alphabetical. NAB 6, NAB 6, NAB 9 Plus. We did that review last year. Where is the NAB 9S? Maybe it's not listed as an Elite. It's going to be Intel 13900. And I thought it, because it's new, I thought it would be here. Oh, wait a minute. This moves. Still not there. How about if I just search for it? Minis Forum, NAB 9S. Does that do it? Or is this an advertisement? It's a sponsor. How about this one? I got there. Okay, here's the deal with the NAB 9S. That's got to be a bare bones price because we paid twice. We paid after sales tax a little over $800. But that included 32 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage. This one must be bare bones, meaning there's no storage, no RAM, and no operating system. Yep, it's bare bones. So for $400, and then it's got the lid. I think you just press on it, it opens, I think. This is what we bought right here. 32 gigs of RAM. It is socketable RAM. And I believe it's DDR4. So it's the cheaper RAM. And 1 terabyte of NVMe with a 13900 HK CPU from Intel. At $775, we paid another $60 in sales tax. So it was a little over $800 for us. And we're going to unbox that and review it. And here we're talking about those extended warranties. As I mentioned, if you're spending that much kind of money and you want to make sure you want it for at least 3 years without any problems, pay the extra $40. The default warranty on this, well, I'll tell you what, let's save it for Sunday. We'll get into the specs and the overview on Sunday's show. And I hope that you will join us for that. I don't know how much of that I'm covering up, but hopefully I didn't cover up anything. But you can obviously go visit that at your own time if you want to get a heads up for what's going on Sunday. So yeah, that's what's coming up on Sunday's show, and I don't know why. What is going on? Okay, I got to check my keyboard shortcuts because things are a little wonky with this OBS update. I got to remember to do that after. I got homework to do. Between now and the next time I see you, between this and OBS, I should keep myself out of trouble for a little while. Thank you, Buster. Thank you, Mark Gaines. And super shout out and thank you to Frankie B. Such generous contributors. I can't thank you enough for supporting us. To everybody in green equally, thank you guys so much for continuing to support us so we can continue to bring these videos to you. For everybody who just watches the videos and they don't financially support us, we still love having you here. Don't think that you're less important. As long as you're polite, we love having more in the community. Regardless of what role you play, you need to be here to play any role. And so for everybody, we appreciate your sense of community, and we hope you'll continue to join us in whatever role you're most comfortable in. And hopefully we will grow the community with more like-minded individuals. Once again, thank you, Craig Casabona, for renewing your membership, and also there was another membership renewal from Dean Nelev, I believe, and also our friend Peter out there in the Netherlands with a €1 super chat today. It all adds up, and we can't thank you enough for that support and generosity. That's going to wrap it up for me for today. Thanks to Mara, our channel administrator. She did our thumbnail, all of our video notes, as she always does. If you want to reach out to us, as I mentioned earlier, when I say the buck stops with me regarding anything I endorse, as well as, trying to help you if you got yourself stuck in a hole or a technical issue. Reach out to us. Our email address is right here on the screen. It is the only proper way to reach out to us. If you try to reach out to us any other way, we probably aren't getting it. showcasecreate@gmail.com is how you will reach us, and we'll do whatever we can to provide answers or solutions to your questions. If you see things like this that you want to purchase, like this one we wouldn't sell, but the minis for them we did buy, and when we're done reviewing it, which might take a couple months, we do offer them for sale in order to reimburse our costs so we can buy something else and let the videos keep going. You've got to be in the USA, and if you see something that we've shown here and you're interested in it, we do all that privately in email. It's not for public discussion for obvious reasons. And if we can help you out, you can help us out, everybody's happy. But it starts with you reaching out to us first. We don't go knocking on doors, okay? Not a salesman. I would be terrible at one if I was. But if you reach out, we'll always respond. So thank you again to everybody in our community. Thank you for watching. If you're new here, we hope you'll be a regular, not irregular. We're hoping you will be a regular here in our community. And we'll look forward to seeing you all on Sunday. Have a happy Friday. We're back at 1 o'clock Pacific time as always, and we hope you'll join us then. Until then, bye for now.
The Red Army's advance into Germany is swift and brutal. In mere months, we have reached Silo Heights, the last line of defense before the German capital. We outnumber the Germans 10 to 1. Wave upon wave of our infantry are unleashed upon them to clear the way for our armor. Once we have control of Silo, we will begin the march to Berlin. There, we will ensure that every sacrifice is repaid in blood.
Sowjetische Gruppe! Köhler! Los! Sanitäter! Like below. Use your Molotov. Let them burn in their boats.